What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Swigger, and I've got another high ELO commentary for you guys featuring Dyrus. And I know that it's not actually Dyrus right there. He spelled his name backwards on his Smurf, which shows the creativity of this marvelous gentleman playing as Jayce in the top lane against a Hecarim. As you guys all know, Dyrus was the top laner for Team Solo Mid. He has now basically retired from professional gaming, but he will be doing a lot of streaming, and that's how I figured out that this was in fact Dyrus. He was currently on his stream playing Jayce. I think he just finished this game actually, so very excited to be watching him play Jayce. I don't think I've seen a lot of Dyrus Jayce, so it should definitely be interesting to see kind of how he builds Jayce. Is he more aggressive? And how does he fare against somebody like a Hecarim, who we've known in this past season has been such a strong champion, especially against AD champions like a Jayce, because he tends to just rush something like a Frozen Heart, and it is very difficult for Jayce players to get through something like that. So curious to see how that all happens, but running down the people that are currently in this game, we have Jayce up in the top lane against a Hecarim. We have Victor in the mid lane against a Ryze, and as we all saw, it's also Nintendo X, who was on Team Coast. I think he still is on Team Coast. I could be mistaken about that, but another professional player who was in the LCS playing as Ryze. Very, very cool. Then we got Soraka Vayne in the bottom. I'm actually not going to talk about that because it looks like the Vayne. Oh yeah, time to maybe stop watching YouTube. Stop watching your Twiggerlol videos and focus on the game. I bet you that that's what he was doing right there. He was by watching my videos. So in the jungle, we have Nidalee on the blue team, and we have a, what is it actually? It's an Udyr in the red side. So that's going to be a very interesting one because you don't see a lot of Udyr nowadays. Very, very strong champion in the sense that if he can get in and bear slap you in the face, he's got an amazing amount of CC, he's got an amazing amount of damage coming out of him, so looking forward to see if that Udyr can pull anything off. And then in the bot lane, we got Vayne, Soraka versus Thresh, Caitlyn, so definitely some interesting lanes going on here. Not something that you see every day, especially in the bottom. Normally with Vayne, you would go for somebody a little bit more aggressive, like a Leona or a Braum or even a Thresh. But to go with a very passive laner like Soraka, I guess it means that Vayne can get in there, do some very early trades, and feel pretty good about herself. But it's kind of the same thing when you look at the bot lane for the red side, where you have Thresh and Caitlyn. Caitlyn, fairly aggressive in terms of the fact that she can get a lot of poke going, but not really like an all-in engage champion like the Thresh is. But Thresh, of course, being a very, very strong support, making sure that he can get engages, but also disengages with his Lantern after Caitlyn's used her 90 caliber net, so it'll be very, very difficult for people to get towards that Caitlyn to get that kill. But as we all saw in Worlds, Ryze is a phenomenally strong mid lane champion if you know how to play him. So I'm not entirely sure how much Ryze experience Nintendo X has, but definitely looking forward to seeing how he does on the Ryze to see if he can unlock the full potential. But the game is going to be a little bit, so thank you guys once again for commenting on the last couple videos that I've done here. You guys did want a little bit more focus on the top lane, so I'm going to basically try to do a little bit more, like, since this is about Dyrus, this is Dyrus's game, I'll do a little bit of commentary on, like, what's going on, like, just to give you guys some clarity as to how the teams are currently interacting with one another, but I'll definitely try to focus a little bit more on how Dyrus is playing Jayce, so hopefully it'll help you guys. If you want to try to play Jayce, you'll see him at a very high ELO, facing a champion who is very, very tough to face. So it looks like right now they're just basically focusing on farming. Dyrus went for the Doran's blade first, so definitely going for a little bit more of an aggressive start. I'm also just going to comment that it looks like we got a little bit of jungle action going down here. The flash having to be burned by the Udyr, which is surprising. Normally Udyr is a very strong early game jungler based on the sense that he can duel people very, very well if he's gone for something like the Tiger stance, but it looks like he is going for the Phoenix stance Udyr, which does give him better jungle clear, but makes his duel potential basically non-existent. So Nidalee had a good time with that one. Flash burn from the Udyr, so that would definitely make Dyrus feel very, very good in the sense that he doesn't really have to worry about the flash bear slap, which is like the biggest thing in Udyr's game. But it looks like we've already got some action going down in the bot lane. First blood going to the Soraka, but now the Udyr is here. The Udyr is just going straight for the Soraka, trying to get away from this one. Teleport coming in from it. Looks like the Victor trying to get something on here. It is going to be a kill for the Victor, so made that teleport 100% worth it. A lot of action going down in that bot lane. The flash only being used by the Soraka, but it looks like the Kate used her heal and the Thresh used his flash and ignite, while Vayne still has her flash available. So very, very good start for that blue team bot lane. And as we can see, Dyrus doing a little bit of jump action onto that Hecarim. Hecarim's probably going to return a certain amount of damage here. But as we can see, Dyrus went for a very aggressive early start build, basically going for a lot of pots, but also getting that Doran's Blade, while Hecarim, of course, just went for the same amount of pots, sort of, with a few mana pots, but getting that Crystalline Flask, which basically just gives him an insane amount of sustain. He can stay in this lane for quite some time, dealing with Dyrus's damage, because when you put a ranged champion against a melee champion, the ranged champion is gonna get harassment off. It's just a freaking guarantee. So it looks like Dyrus is going to go for his first B. How much money is he currently sitting on? He's sitting on, what, 765 right now. So I wonder what he's going to pick up. But he did have just enough money, so he is going for that Tear of the Goddess build. But it looks like Teleport coming out of the Rise. Going to go back into the mid lane just to get a few more minions here. So yeah, Dyrus going for that little bit more of a later to mid game type of Jayce build, that when you finish off your man immune, he does do an insane amount of damage. Just an insane amount of damage. And it'll allow him to spam his spells a little bit more in the lane against Hecarim. But as we can see, the Hecarim's already started with that Glacial Shroud, increasing his armor by an insane amount. So I think Dyrus is going to have a bit of an issue dealing with this, because he didn't get any more damage. He just has that mana stacking. And Hecarim now has basically the counter, which is just stacking armor. And once Hecarim finishes off, I believe he's probably going to be going for that Frozen Heart fairly early. I don't think that Hecarim is going to go for an Iceborne Gauntlets. He very well might, though. You never know with Hecarim's. But it's definitely been an interesting game, sort of in this mid lane. Rise doing a lot of damage to the Victor, but Victor returning it. And looks at the Soraka just utilizing her spam with her mastery of that champion. And look at that, you can already see how much damage that Vayne has done to that Caitlyn. It's pretty phenomenal that we're seeing the trades that are happening here. And it's working in their favor, in that Soraka can just heal the Vayne right back up, no issue at all. Great trades, because the Vayne is currently ahead with that Bilgewater Cutlass. And then she comes back, heals herself up with the Soraka, and booyah, you can just continue to trade again. So it looks like Udyr did poke his head up here to try to see if he could get a gank, but nothing's really available. They're just kind of passively farming. No one's getting too aggressive here. Dyrus does not want to be aggressive right now, simply because he did go for that mana stacking rather than any type of an aggressive item. Like, he could have very well waited a little bit longer and gone for something like a Sheen, which is very strong on Jayce, but opting more for that kind of utility later game and making sure that he has the ability to use his abilities to get more CS and make sure that he can be a presence in the mid game. But it looks like we got a lot of action going down in this bot lane. Nidalee's in a little bit of trouble. The Thresh got the Rise into this fight. Looks like Soraka might go down. Healing up just a little bit. The flash coming out, and it is going to be enough to take down the Nidalee. And Udyr cleaned up the Soraka, so that was a 2-for-0 trade down in that bot lane. Dyrus did have teleport, but to be honest, looking at their health, like, Dyrus coming down would not have done a lick of difference. And the thing is, so does the Hecarim, but it looks like the Ignite going down onto Dyrus. Dyrus is probably going to have to fight this one, but he does have the minion support. The ultimate coming down of the Hecarim, and that is going to be one dead Dyrus. Sadly, just a little bit of extra damage coming out of that ultimate from the Hecarim, landing it, and that is, yeah, Dyrus sadly giving up that first blood in the top lane. Not really first blood, but I mean like first blood in terms of top laners. You get it. I don't need to explain myself to you. But Hecarim now going to have an even bigger lead on this Jayce right now, which is going to be unfortunate, because look at that, a Warden's Mail, so much armor is coming out of this, so he is going for that early Frozen Heart, which is going to slow down Dyrus' attack speed as well. It's going to be very, very difficult, unless Dyrus starts building like maybe a Brutalizer or something along those lines, to actually do any damage to this Hecarim. So Nintendo X doing a lot of damage to this Victor. Both of these mid laners are basically out of mana though, so nothing's really going to happen anymore. They're just going to kind of like hit each other with their auto attacks, which basically as a mid laner is like hitting your friend with like a wet piece of bacon or something like that. That has been like sitting out for too long. Like, it's not hot anymore, like no damage is being done, it just kind of feels uncomfortable and slimy. But yeah, that's what the mid lane is going to be like for a little bit. But as you can see, you know, Dyrus still doing some damage to this Hecarim, so he definitely does have something here. But looks like here comes the Udyr. Great time for him to gank. Dyrus is going to knock away the Hecarim. He's going to try to get out of this one, try to do as much damage as possible to the Udyr, because he does have the Victor TPing in. The ultimate being used by the Victor is going to be enough to take down the Udyr, and it looks like the Hecarim might die as well. Double kill for the Victor, and that's going to be two assists to the Jayce, which is a fantastic way. What am I doing? Oh, I just went back. Apparently we're gonna watch that again. For some reason I thought that was the directed cam icon, and I was just like, oh yeah, no, we're good. So I guess we'll watch it again for your knowledge purposes. So Dyrus was running away initially, realized that he can't get away, and realized that the Victor's coming and also the Nidalee, so he just decides to turn and try to do as much damage to the Udyr as possible. Very, very smart play, forward thinking on Dyrus' part, knowing that he's going to go down, but how do I capitalize on this situation? And the way that he can capitalize on it is making sure that he gets as much damage as possible to ensure that both of those two champions go down once he dies. But it looks like the Caitlyn is on her own, so this is probably going to be, but man, Vayne taking so much damage from the turret. Finally ends up going down, but like she just stepped in a Caitlyn trap. You stepped right in the Caitlyn trap and you just died. So yeah, the Vayne was tanking it for so long. I guess that's kind of the right way to do. I don't play a lot of Soraka lanes, but to be honest, maybe it is the right way to do it, because then Soraka can kind of continue to heal the Vayne and hopefully she can tank the turret enough, but clearly it was not enough at all. So that was just a 1-for-1 trade, but luckily it is still worth it for the blue team in the sense that the blue team got an assist out of that kill and the extra experience onto both players, while Thresh wasn't there, so there was no assist and there was no additional experience. So yeah, it definitely worth it for the blue team, but you definitely wish that you could get out of those trades with having not lost anybody. But we have a bunch of things going down in the jungle. The Udyr, oh, the missed spear, that was definitely going to be a kill. Nidalee doing a great job with invading this Udyr and really taking that dual potential to him. As we can see, the Nidalee built that that Sheen very, very early, so doing a lot of damage to the Udyr, who's currently going for that Cinderhulk build, but Nidalee's going to be going for that Runeglaive build, it looks like, and that's going to be a lot of damage coming through. So as we can see in this top lane, we are now noticing that Dyrus is going for a little bit more damage, getting the Phage, probably going to turn that into a Black Cleaver to try to deal with the armor of this Hecarim. Looks like there was a kill. I'm going to just rewind that just so that way we can actually see what happened, but it was on Nintendude. Nidalee's just here, probably just lands a very good spear, because right now Nintendude's X is very, very low. There's even less health. Oh yeah, there's a spear, and there's just going to be one very, very easy kill. So I think that Dyrus is going to be going for that Black Cleaver. It's just going to give him that ability to get a little bit of extra armor pen and maybe deal with the massive amounts of armor that are coming out of this Hecarim, who has already finished his Frozen Art. Like, look at that. 144 armor 11 minutes into the game. Like, it's an annoying thing to face, guys, to have to deal with that kind of a Hecarim when you're playing somebody like a Jayce, who doesn't really go for a lot of damage very early. Like, it's not overly fun, right? It's not like two men doing damage to each other. It's basically like two kids playing in the grass, and one of them gets pushed over every now and again and starts crying. But it looks like the Hecarim is going very aggressive onto the Dyrus. The Ignite coming out, the Dubstep Ignite. My God, do you watch Uber Danger? I bet you do. That was a pretty sweet dubstep, like Uber would definitely appreciate that. That was definitely like a swag tag and then run back. Awesome job by the Hecarim. Sad though, we want to see the Dyrus win, right? Dyrus is our boy. We want to see him do well, so hopefully he'll come back in this game. But right now, sitting at 0-3-2, and the Hecarim sitting at 3-1-0, not looking overly great. So we're just gonna have to see how this bad boy plays out. Oh man, water is a fantastic thing when you have to talk. But it looks like once again, this bot lane is going very, very aggressive. The Vayne is yet to finish off her Blade of the Ruin King, so still just sitting on the Bilgewater Cutlass with the recurve bow. But still going to be doing way more damage than this Caitlyn, who is kind of opting for a very strange build. But it looks like here is the aggressive stance. The Udyr is coming in, and here's the Lantern, but a great stun onto the Thresh. This might be enough to kill him. It will be enough to take him down, but he did get the hook off, so she is going to be stunned for a little while, but the invisibility getting Vayne away, and Soraka surviving as well. Amazing play coming out of this bot lane. A great gank, but just not enough to actually clean anything up. So I was just saying before, Caitlyn opting for a very strange build, having that Bilgewater Cutlass, I guess going for that that Blade of the Ruin King, which is a very kind of odd thing when you look at the... Oh, but here we go. Here's the mid lane fight we're all looking for. The ultimate being popped by both champions. The Ryze trying to do as much damage, and they are just going to break apart, doing enough damage to one another and just going kind of like, touche, you know, very well done, sir. That was a wonderful little scrap that we had there. But once again, we're back up in the top lane, and we're having another kind of aggressive fight here. Finally, the Ryze does get taken out by a very timely gank by the Nidalee, and it looks like Dyrus is just kind of losing these attacks every now and again. These little scraps that they're getting into, Dyrus is just not winning them because of the amount of damage. And now that the Hecarim has a Sheen, it's just too much for Dyrus to deal with. He's now doing damage as well as being tanky. But I do want to see what happens to this Udyr here. So a great spear landing. Nidalee going to jump in. A huge jump out of the Nidalee to try to get on this one. A great hook coming from the Thresh, but another spear lands, and Nidalee's just going to flash jump onto that one. Very, very easy. And misses the next spear. Nice little juke there. But I wonder if anything's going to happen else in this. So the flash having to be burned from the Caitlyn. Not going to be enough, but the great spear coming out of the Nidalee. So yeah, you miss a couple, but every one that you seem to hit ends up being a great kill. But the teleport comes down from the Hecarim. The ultimate being used as well is going to get the shutdown onto the Victor. Vayne and Soraka are going to try to get in here now that they have minions at the turret, so they don't have to run through the turret damage. But it is far too late for them to get in on this one, unless the Hecarim is not gonna go in on that one, knowing full well that the Soraka is there healing up that Nidalee. Thresh is being very, very ballsy here, considering how little HP that he's at. I don't think Dyrus is gonna come over here. We have no vision of him. So, oh, but now we do have vision of him. Is Dyrus gonna come down? Nope. He is just gonna worry about the minion farm and trying to get up to that top lane. Not a boy, Dyrus. Farm will get you through this. So it's still quite an even game when you look at it. There is quite a lead coming out of the blue team, but the gold's gonna almost even up like after this turret, and it looks like the Rise is gonna try to get in and onto Dyrus. This is gonna be a world of pain, but a great little knockback coming out of Dyrus, and that's gonna be plenty enough to get him away. The Victor has a great roam coming through. This could be exactly what Dyrus needs to get him back into this game if he picks up this kill, which I hope that the Victor will allow him to do, considering that Victor's already got 4 kills. So there we go. Dyrus getting the kill. Finally getting his first kill of the game, 1, 3, and 2. Victor sitting at 4, 1, and 3. It's one of those things that it's just when you're already doing really, really well as somebody like a Victor, you're 4, 1, and you were 2 at that point. Letting somebody like Dyrus, who is a little bit behind, but still doing really well on farm, getting a kill like that definitely gets him right back into this game. So Nidalee getting hooked, and it looks like they are going to jump in on this one. The ultimate coming out, and a lot of damage coming out of this Udyr. But it looks like the Victor ultimate is available. Going to try to do a lot of damage to the Udyr, but it's not going to be enough to pick him up. But that was just basically kind of an interesting fight, but the Udyr had to pop his flash in order to get away from that one, where Nidalee and Victor didn't have to burn anything. So definitely worthwhile for the blue team, showing their dominance a little bit here. But a lot of damage going down onto these turrets as well. So you see the mid lane turret's taking a lot of damage. The bot lane turret is almost dead. Top lane, well, you know what? Actually, I almost had half HP. Dyrus at least did some damage there. But as we were saying before, the Black Cleaver was picked up. Very, very smart. Getting that cooldown reduction, getting that armor pen should really help Dyrus in the lane. Nintendo's jumping in on this one, trying to do as much damage as possible, but is not going to be able to kill that Victor. But it looks like the Vayne going to do a ton of damage. A great condemn onto the Caitlyn, even after that 90 caliber net. Beautifully done. And that is going to be another kill for the Vayne. 3, 1, and 2 with 141 CS to the 1, 4, and 1 on Caitlyn with 92 CS. Vayne has that Blade of the Ruined King and an Avarice Blade with an additional dagger and boots, while Caitlyn is sitting on just the Bilgewater Cutlass and a pickaxe. Like, it's just such an odd build, and what I was saying before but never really got to finish my statement is that Caitlyn going for a Blade of the Ruined King doesn't make sense to me, because look at their team. You don't need that percentage health damage when you're facing a team that's not tanky, right? Like, yeah, sure, it looks like the Nidalee is going for the Rod of Ages, but that's it, right? Like, you could do just as much damage if you built a kind of standard Caitlyn build by going for an Infinity Edge, followed by something like a Static Shiv. I feel like would have been a lot better. I'm not sure if she was trying to, like, maximize her dual potential, but Dyrus is going to be in a world of hurt right here. Dyrus is probably going to have to flash out of this one, but Hecarim does have his ultimate, so Dyrus is just going to try to knock Hecarim away. The speed up is happening right now. The ignite coming out, he is going to flash away, but here comes the ultimate. A great juke of the Hecarim ultimate. It looks like now people are here to support Dyrus. This should be a dead Hecarim. Great amount of baits coming out of the Dyrus, and also being able to juke that initial ultimate. Is this gonna be, oh, he's running, oh, it will be. Midnight Soraka picking that one up, and Dyrus getting the assist as well as the Victor. Very, very nice play, and a great little juke north coming out of Dyrus. Nice little nuanced play. So the Nidalee picking up that dragon, it was a very, very close steal almost, but it looks like Victor's going to come in here to support his team as well. It is going to be a hook coming out of the Thresh to stop the damage coming out of the Victor, so I believe that Udyr will be able to escape this one. There are currently 4 members of the red team. They could very well start a fight here, but Vayne is now coming in. The Nidalee's here as well, so it doesn't look like anything else is going to come from this one. But Dyrus, while that's all going on, is up top, pushing the top lane turret. That's going to be an additional few thousand gold for the blue team. Currently sitting at 32.4k gold to 25.5k. We're seeing a very large gold difference for these teams. And you know, it shows how good of a player Dyrus is in general when he had such an awful early game, right? Like, he got killed twice early. He actually died 3 times pretty early into the game. Just not having a great time, but look at his CS. 143 to 128. And so the gold probably, even though like he has got 4 kills over Dyrus, sorry, 3 kills over Dyrus, look at that, 6,300 to 6,500. The gold is so close. It's hard to stress how important minion farm actually is. But Dyrus understands that if he stays in lane and gets the farm, he will be back in this game. But great hook coming out onto the Soraka, and this is going to be one dead Soraka. Caitlyn picking that one up. Chicken's Magical? Chicken's Magical is that Caitlyn's name. Amazing. Whoa, man, look at that Vayne damage. So here comes the Hecarim. He does not have Home Guard boots. So it's not like this is going to be a huge gank or anything like that, but he does have his ultimate available. Not even a great ultimate, only landing on the Vayne, but I guess that is the target that you wanted to hit. Caitlyn managing to get her ultimate down onto the Vayne, which is going to pick up that kill, but Victor is at full HP and he still has a good workable amount of mana. Nilly's going to try to get onto this Caitlyn. Jayce is coming in as well. Is he going to be able to jump onto it? No, the heal being used from the Cave, but now Dyrus is on her, doing a lot of damage. My god, even through the flash does enough damage to pick up that Caitlyn. Dyrus' second kill of the game. Very, very nicely played. And I don't even think that Dyrus has like used his teleport this game. He might have used it to get back in lane in the early phases once he died the first time, but he hasn't really come to join any team fights. So right now they have the TP advantage. So when Baron spawns or something like that, you can now have Dyrus split pushing and maybe try to make something happen somewhere else in the map, which it looks like they're kind of trying to do that. Dyrus is now going to the bot lane, but it looks like Vayne's going down there as well. Hecarim going to try to jump. My goodness, that E damage. But here goes the gravity field that is going to stop the Hecarim. A lot of damage coming out of the Victor, which is a very, very good news for the blue team. Because if your Victor can deal with the tankiest member on the enemy team, you're sitting pretty. But it looks like did the hook land? The hook did not land. It looks like the teleport coming out of it is Victor. Of course, no, Dyrus would not use a TP. Good God, no, man. What are you thinking? So, man, this Hecarim is very, very low. Dyrus, if he lands, oh, no, I couldn't land, but look at the damage. My goodness. That Black Cleaver Manamune Jayce. Ooh, that's it, some damage. And it looks like the heals coming out of the Soraka and the Nidalee are enough to keep her alive, and that's going to be 3 kills for 0 in favor of the blue team. Everything is just starting to work together now. This is now just a well-oiled machine. The amount of poke damage that this team has with Nidalee, with Dyrus, with Victor, it is gross. And they have an amazing amount of wave clear as well, but they also have great duel potential when you counter and like when you have the Vayne present as well. That she can like use her ultimate, get over to the Caitlyn and just absolutely Shrek her, and then allow your team to just continue to do poke damage. So it looks like they're going to try to jump in on this rise. Might not be a smart idea to go underneath 2 Nexus turrets. Yep, that is going to be a shutdown, and it looks like this is going to be a shutdown on, well, not a shutdown, but a kill onto the Soraka as well. That was just maybe a little bit too aggressive. Like, maybe you guys should have just gotten the inhibitor and then left. You know, it's maybe you're taking a little bit too much. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So, it's still looking very, very good in favor of this blue team. 41.1k to 31.8k, 9,000 gold lead. They already have a dragon up as well. So it's just 6 turrets to 1. Like, the gold lead is substantial. So the amount of items that these guys have. Victor just finished his 3rd augmentation, so his ultimate is going to be a lot stronger. This guy is going to be very, very difficult for the enemy team to deal with, especially somebody like Caitlyn. But you can see, guys, I can't stress this enough. I have no idea what Caitlyn's doing. She hasn't finished an item yet. Like, she hasn't finished a core item. It looks like she's going for Blade of the Ruined King followed by, like, an Infinity Edge. It just doesn't make any sense. And she hasn't finished either of them. She has a bunch of pieces. I don't understand. Like, this build makes no sense to me. I would never play Kate like that. So, it's up to you guys if that's how you want to build her. Like, don't get me wrong. These guys are all incredibly high ELOs. So, I don't know if maybe they just know a little bit more than me, but I just feel that having a whole bunch of separate items is not going to beat a Vayne that has Blade of the Ruined King and Static Shiv completed. It just isn't. So I'm not sure what the Caitlyn is planning on doing. She did finally, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause. Caitlyn finishing off her Blade of the Ruined King. Enjoy that one. You've earned it. It's only been 23 minutes, but you earned it, girl. Oh, that is a good spear onto the Thresh. I don't know. Oh, oh my goodness. Dyrus from downtown landing the 3-pointer. Basically the alley-oop at that point. So Dyrus doing a lot of damage. Everybody jumping in here. A huge amount of AoE burst damage coming out of that Victor, and that's going to clean up the Rise, Nidalee picking up that kill, and another great spear. That is going to be a kill from the Victor, picking up that Caitlyn. Great spears coming out of this Nidalee, just making sure that she can get a lot of damage down onto the enemy team. And it looks like that might very well be the end of the game, guys. Right now, it's just Udyr and Hecarim alive. For some reason, I feel like the Udyr just kind of gave up on this game. It looks like he is just kind of standing in base. It's kind of what happens, I think, in high ELO play, is that sometimes when you feel like you're just losing the game, people just tend to give up, which is unfortunate. It's definitely an unfortunate way to play the game. You figure that if you were at this high ELO, you would want to play the game through and try to learn as much as possible. But, guys, Dyrus definitely showed how you can play Jayce. And even though he was behind against a very hard matchup, definitely came back, farmed up really well, got his items, and really did help his team an incredible amount. So guys, if you guys do like watching people like Dyrus play, he does have a stream. I'll have a link in the description below. Go and check it out. It's a blast to watch. I love watching Dyrus, so hopefully you guys did enjoy this commentary on his Jayce gameplay. If you did enjoy the commentary, like that like button. No, just click that like button. Definitely helps me out a lot, and it definitely gets lonely down there without people clicking on it. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys want to see, and if you enjoyed the commentary, I will try to do more of these if you guys do enjoy them. If you want to know when I release a video, when I stream, or if you want to interact with me, follow me at TwiggerLol on Twitter. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like content like this. And ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys in the next episode. Apparently, I can't speak near the end of these things. See you later, guys.